Entervo v2 System Training Part 3. We are still in the system startup. This time talking about the Java client and our universal interface integration. One of the system services is the Apache. There we have two versions. The first one is the Apache Tomcat, which is the HTTPS server, and the second one is the Apache 24. It's the HTTP server. First we will have a look on the Java client integration. So there is a network connection between a workstation and a cell computer. How does it work? First we start by browsing to the cell computer with an integrated browser on the workstation, and then there will be a language choice from the start page that the Apache 24, the HTTP server, is providing. On the start page we will have three options, but which one to choose? Here is the explanation. Since round about the year 2004 we have the browser integration. That means the Java, the Entervo, runs inside the browser window, and whenever you push the forward/backward button the session was broken, so that wasn't our first choice. The second version is the Java Web Start since Entervo v2r4, but the demand of updates from the IT environment is killing us, and Oracle has stopped this as a free license, so we were kind of forced into a new solution. Version 3 is the OpenJDK integration, and that's our current latest integration. By using the get down we can install the OpenJDK to a workstation, so to the let's say customer's workstation, and deploy there the Entervo jar files. So that means we start with the get down, install the OpenJDK runtime environment for the Java, and then we deploy the jar files by downloading them into the destination workstation. Let's have a look how this works in detail. So here in the picture on the left hand side you see the well-known PSI environment with the encapsulated Java service, or the encapsulating Java service, and on the right side you see an Entervo workstation, and down below you see on the right hand side our field devices also running the PSI communication towards to the cell computer, let's say on the left hand side. So, and on top you see the Apache HTTP server, which is inside the cell computer, and it provides the Entervo start page when we browse towards to the cell computer, and the start page is located on CNews classes index.html. Once Entervo is started on the workstation based on the jar files from Newsys classes, there is a so-called RMI tunnel towards to the cell computer, remote method invocation. So that means the workstation is supported by this RMI tunnel to the Java services. And for instance, if you press the open button inside the Entervo application, then the Java service will receive this command, it will route it into the PSI, and the PSI will route it to the corresponding field device, and the barrier will open. In case of a third-party integration, so that means some external company would like to use our universal interfaces, this is a different communication via the Apache Tomcat. That is the HTTPS server, and the Apache Tomcat, typically communicating on port 8443, provides the startup of the universal interfaces, so-called WAR files, and they run as a kind like container, and each single container is one functionality, like control, the device control, payment, a payment interface, or validation for validating tickets. And the third-party integrator could get a documentation how to talk to this universal interface via so-called REST communication, and then it's the same way from the WAR container. For instance, again, device control would receive a command from the integrator, so from the third-party integrator, and this message would be routed then into the Java service and again into the PSI and towards to the device, and the barrier would open again. Administration of the Tomcat is done via the browser from, for instance, the workstation, and it's HTTPS, the IP of the cell computer plus port 8443 /manager/HTML. Let us have a closer look to this Tomcat and how it works. The so-called WAR files are located on the C drive Tomcat, the appropriate version of the Tomcat, then / the Tomcat with the highest version number, because you may have various Tomcat installations, and the Node 1 web apps, and that is the location where you find the WAR files that are started by the Tomcat. So if they are not located in this directory, the universal interface will not be started. And the configuration usually is done by the configuration wizard. So that means the config wizard should release those UIs by locating those WAR files in this directory. Sure, you could do it manually, but as mentioned before, the config wizard should be the only truth of the configured system. In a normal configuration, only node 1 would run, but a second node could be started to have a kind of load balancing if the interface, if the Apache might be overloaded. If you like to check for the Tomcat or in general for the Apache, you can run or open the run box on the Microsoft operating system, and then you type services.msc and you get the interface for the system services. Inside the services you can check for the Apache Tomcat, and in case that it is running and you browse, as mentioned already, as manager /HTML to the IP address, you will get the login for the Tomcat administration. If the service is down, you will see that the service is not reachable, so you will get a message that the website is not available. The same is valid for the HTTP server, so also if this one is down, you will get the message that this page cannot be displayed, so that the website, the index HTML, is not reachable.